Good evening. I am Regina.
I'm Pauline Verzosa.
And I'm Shawn.
The big stories tonight. The Justice Department gets ready to lead the first technical dive into Tal Lake in Batangas, where dozens of disappeared sabongeros are believed to be buried.
And Vice President Sara Duterte is back at The Hague to visit her father, whom she says is now so thin. As expected, she's also deliberately skipping President Marcos's sauna on July 28th.
And what role will the so-called veteran bloc in the Senate play in the 20th Congress? We'll be speaking to Senator Migz Zubiri about this, as well as his proposal to ban online gaming later on in the program.
We could send underwater drones to check on the safety, how deep the water is it murky? The moment we find a cadaver, we could attach, lift them up without sending any diver.
Hindi natin nililimit yung investigation natin doon sa mga pananalita at salaysay po ni alias Totoy.
The first technical dive and the search for the missing sabongeros in Tal Lake could be happening this week, but the mission is treacherous with the waters murky and rough.
So the plan is to send down submersible drones first to scour the lake bed, and the Department of Justice says it's also zeroed in on an area where the bodies were allegedly disposed by a hired contractor.
Meanwhile, the PNP says it is continuing to search for solid evidence to back up alleged whistleblower Julie Patidongan's testimonies. Mobile journalist Amy Atienza with tonight's big story.
The Philippine Navy is gearing up for their first technical dive in search of the missing cockfight enthusiasts whose bodies were allegedly dumped in Tal Lake. 3 teams are now on standby, ready to go once the Department of Justice issues a formal request. But the mission is hard. The divers will most likely be met with bad weather and murky, rough waters. So they will first deploy submersible drones that can go as far down as 200 meters deep. The deepest part of Tal Lake goes down to 170 meters.
Before sending the diver, we could send underwater drones to check on the safety, how deep the water is it murky, ano ma-encounter nga sa ilalim. The moment we find that what we have to recover, whether it's an object or a cadaver, we could attach the connecting points to them and lift them up without sending any diver.
According to Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Boying Remulla, they have identified an area in the lake that will be searched. The said area is a fishery owned by someone who was allegedly a contractor to whom people to be killed were brought.
Involved lang sa subcontracting ng disposition ng persons to be killed. Buhay pa yung mga tao, dinadala sa kanila, doon na yata pinapatay ang mga karamihan dyan. Grabe to. It's a very ghastly scene that we can imagine. At some people are being targeted for execution and they're being turned over to some people. May mga kanya-kanyang kontrata. These are contractors who did it.
For their part, the police said they continue to look for more tangible proof. To support the testimonial evidence from alleged whistleblower, Julie Dondon Patidongan alias Totoy, who directly implicated the businessman Atong Ang in the disappearance of more than 100 sabongeros from Manila area.
Hindi natin nililimit yung investigation natin doon sa mga pananalita at salaysay po ni alias Totoy kasi hindi tayo basta pwedeng mag-rely on at pagka bumagsak yung kanyang mga statements ay wala na tayong pupuntahan. Also, kung meron pa po dyan na maaaring may alam o pwedeng ma-share na information to bolster po yung ating ongoing investigation, the PNP is open po at ang maisusiguro lang po natin sa kanila is ma-assure po yung kanilang security and safety.
Patidongan has not shown any hard evidence to date. He told News 5 that Ang made him burn 13 cell phones so as to destroy videos and other evidence which show the sabongeros being abducted, bound, strangled, then brought to the fishery in Talisay, Batangas. But he also admitted he wasn't present for any of the killings and had only watched footage sent to him, which is why he can't help narrow down the search area in Tal Lake. Despite Patidongan being under protective custody, the PNP is not barring Patidongan from doing media interviews. For now, they're looking to file only administrative cases against the 15 policemen Patidongan implicated in the crime. The PNP spokesperson also explained why they could not simply announce the other possible areas where the bodies of sabongeros has been disposed.
Baka pag nasabi namin yon baka hindi pa natin napupuntahan yung mga posibleng hukay at pinagtabunan at posibleng pinaglagyan nun ay baka mauna na sila doon at alisin yung mga posibleng remains and possible pieces of evidence.
Fajardo also said PNP's technical divers are ready if the DOJ asks for their help in scoring Tal Lake.
Vice President Sara Duterte is back at The Hague to visit her father, former President Rodrigo Duterte. She says she arrived on Saturday and will be staying until the 23rd. This is at least her third visit to the Netherlands since her father's arrest. In a chance interview this time around, she said she's there to maximize the additional visiting days granted by the ICC Detention Center for Digong. They are being allowed to see him 4 times a week now. Sara also took the chance to hit the Marcos administration again, accusing them of using public funds to support ICC witnesses.
Lungkot. Sinasabi nila walang ebidensya, pero meron sila ngayong witnesses na kaya naman nila pala bayaran yung yung pagbabiyahe. Pero nakakalungkot kasi sobrang bagal ng galaw nila para sa ating mga kababayan na naiipit sa kaguluhan sa Iran at sa Israel. At nakikita ng taong bayan nasaan ba talaga yung priorities ng administration na ito. Apparently puro politika lang yung paninira sa politika lang yung kanilang prioridad. Gawa-gawa talaga na ebidensya at yung ibang ebidensya nila, meron din tayong ebidensya na kinuha yon by force or intimidation or harassment of individuals. So, makikita din natin yun soon, very soon.
When asked about the condition of her father, VP Sara said he is noticeably thinner now. And today, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro was asked to react to Sara's comment. Here's what they said.
Pumayat siya ng sobra. Ganito siguro siya kapayat nung binata pa siya. Kung ito yung braso ko, doble mas. So doble is kalahati nito. Kalahati na lang nito ang braso niya. Tinanong namin siya kung may mga complaints siya. Wala naman siyang nararamdaman daw. So okay naman siya. On that note, kasi wala din naman siya sa hospital part ng prison. Nandun siya sa regular detention. Dito lang kami sa Hague sa duration ng duty ko. So July ano ba ako? Kailan ako dumating? July 5 hanggang July 23 yung sa akin. And then darating sa susunod si Hanilet. Minamaximize namin yung grant ng detention unit na 4 times a week pwede po kasi.
From the Netherlands, the Vice President will be traveling to South Korea to attend a Filipino gathering there, thereby missing once more President Marcos's sauna.
Oh, speaking of Duterte's case, there is, of course, a new Solicitor General in town. Last May, she was appointed by President Marcos to replace former Solicitor General Minardo Guevara, one of the biggest names caught up in the cabinet revamp. And on that, let me bring in new Solicitor General Darlene Berberabe. Good evening, ma'am. Welcome to the big story.
Good evening.
Oh, I didn't realize we were having you on the line. Good evening, Solgen. Kamusta po? We haven't spoken to you since you were appointed just over a month ago. How have you been settling in?
Oh, well, yes. I hit the ground running the day after oath taking. So we had a turnover meeting with Solgen Maynard Guevara on the day after. So I started on May 1. And I have been see with all the high-profile cases and all the routine cases that the OSG is handling.
Well, actually, it came as a bit of a surprise to us because you took your oath on the day that you were announced. Tell us, walk us back to that time. At what point did you get the call and how long did you think about it? Because, of course, you're coming from academia, which is an entirely different world, although I note that you did have a previous stint in government before.
Yes. So it was very fast. I had a call on the day, if you remember, that the president gave instruction to the cabinet secretaries to submit a courtesy resignation. And then I was asked if I was okay to be considered and for the executive secretary to pass my name to the president. And I said, well, I wanted more time, but I was told no time to think through it. So I said, yes, I'm okay to be considered. And then I got a confirmation maybe a day before the oath taking that the president hoped that I could be available on Thursday because I was out of country on the week after for the oath taking. So I got a confirmation just the day before my oath taking.
Oh, wow. It all happened very fast. So confirm ko lang, it was E.S. Bersamin who recommended you then?
Yes, he was the one who called me.
Okay. I understand also, Solgen Berberabe, that you were actually also on the list to be a potential Supreme Court justice. How does it feel? Did you have to let go of that dream or next time na lang yun?
Well, yeah, so that was also my first reaction when I got the call that I told the ES, Sir, dito ko inihanda yung kalooban ko at isip ko sa Supreme Court. And then, well, of course, because the president is the one who's going to appoint also the justice of the Supreme Court. So, mabilis naman akong nakapick up na, okay, so malamang hindi ako yon. So, that's okay. So, if the president thinks that this is the role for me at this point, then I said yes.
Well, Solgen, you are stepping into this role at a time when the government is currently facing lots of issues, lots of legal challenges. What would you say is your priority in the office of the Solicitor General?
Okay, so of course there are a lot of high-profile cases. Some are we are also revisiting with reference to some cases that the former Solicitor General made a position that they recused, and I'm going to be meeting with the legal team of the president in order to get an alignment as to whether the OSG can resume representing the Republic of the Philippines in those cases. So another priority would be streamlining of cases because as I am going around the 30 divisions of the OSG, we are handling around 280,000 cases. So to streamline it and to be adopting policies so that there will be more guidance as to which cases to say yes to, which cases to appeal, which cases can be subjected to arbitration, mediation, so that we don't multiply beyond necessity the cases that for the OSG to handle, and so that we can also focus the resources of the OSG to just the important cases for the Republic.
Just to clarify, no, Solgen, did I hear you right? You have yet to really have a good sit down with the president to align the priorities of your office.
Well, I did have a meeting with the president, and I gave an overview of the cases that we are handling. So it was like more giving him a sense of what are the cases that are high impact, perhaps for the government, and with regard to the specific cases that the former Solgen had a specific position on. So that was it. That is what I am referring to. That I have to really sit down with the legal team in order to have like one voice and to get the instructions on those cases.
Would one of those be what to do with regard to the ICC case? Because the previous Solgen, of course, as we know, before he stepped down, yun po yung mainit na issue surrounding him, his stance and his recusal of the OSG from the ICC case.
Yes, that is correct. So that is one that is important that I need to sit down with the Secretary of Justice, the Executive Secretary, and the presidential legal team.
Okay.
I'm trying to seek more clarity here, Solgen. So when Solgen Guevara recused himself, obviously that was a really controversial decision. He said it was not personal, it's institutional. And he said he was recusing himself because he was unable to represent, may not be able to effectively represent the respondents in that habeas corpus case. So do you feel like you're in a position to effectively represent the respondents in this case?
Well, yes, so that is really what I am opening our office to, which is the open mind to relook and to revisit. For example, the case in the ICC already has issued their decision on with regard to the jurisdiction of the ICC. So there could be a reasonable basis to revisit that position of the OSG and to perform also our responsibility to be the lead advocate for the Republic.
Did you get specific instructions from the president on that matter in terms of how to handle the case?
From the president, not yet.
Solgen was speaking of high-profile cases. There is the impeachment trial, and the camp of the vice president did file a petition before the Supreme Court, and Senate President Cheese Escudero said that he will be referring this matter to the OSG in terms of representation because they are a respondent in that petition. Is your office already preparing its legal position in case you have to step in and defend the Senate?
Well, yes. So what we do in the OSG is that we're really closely monitoring the news. So it's like every day I'm adding on to the list of the cases that are potentially going to be handled by the OSG. So yes, I have been tasking my different divisions to start their research on impeachment on the issues that are being raised. Yes, we are preparing ourselves for that eventuality.
What is which case is coming up first in terms of the timeline of the legal process here? What's first up for you?
Okay. So do you mean the high-profile cases? So
Yes.
not necessarily the impeachment?
Yes, could be the ICC jurisdiction case, the habeas corpus case. I mean, could be the impeachment, could be the case.
Okay. So the high-impact cases that I onboarded myself really immediately were the PhilHealth case, which is submitted for resolution. So the orals have already been concluded, oral arguments. The Maharlika case, we were actually preparing for the oral arguments for the Maharlika case in the Supreme Court. And then last week, we got a notification that the oral arguments that was scheduled really for today and tomorrow have been canceled. So we are treating it also as submitted for resolution. And then the Pogo case, the Pogo related cases are also pending in court. So those are the cases involving Harry Roque,
Yeah.
Ronaldin Baternad, Alice Go, and then for the impeachment, so we are also the House of Representatives also reached out to us because the Ombudsman had a request for the House of Representatives to respond to an order from the Ombudsman, which is also pursuant to the committee report that was submitted by the House of Representatives to the Ombudsman.
With the transfer of the PhilHealth funds, which obviously is sitting with the Supreme Court right now, and I listened to the last round of oral arguments wherein one of the justices lectured the defendants on the amount of PhilHealth benefits that he himself got when he was hospitalized, right? So parang to a layman, it sounded to me like the case was a little weak there kasi napapagalitan sila over the PhilHealth benefits, given that there is a very clear mandate in the Constitution that any PhilHealth funds need to go back into healthcare services. Can I get a better sense of what your stance is on that matter? Was that legal? Was that constitutional?
Okay, so since we are actually defending the Department of Finance in that case, so we are their lawyer, so it is our position that they were pursuant to the Constitution, that the provision in the GAA is not unconstitutional. I think that the issue that you mentioned is, well, that was not an issue in the case itself. So, of course, when you talk about health benefits, it could actually really be emotional for many because of the availment of benefits, maybe the delayed payments as well to the hospitals. But there are very specific issues that were raised in the issue, and so we were responding and giving the side of the Department of Finance in following what was that provision in the GAA and in issuing that DOF circular, which implements the transfer of the reserve funds of the PhilHealth that will be reverted to the National Treasury.
Okay. And are you at liberty to discuss your stance on the Maharlika Investment Fund, even though the hearing was canceled?
Yes. So the Maharlika Fund, so there were specific issues that we were preparing, and which the Supreme Court also outlined as the issues that they wanted to have oral arguments on. Number one, it was I think the Supreme Court wanted to check on the economic viability of the Maharlika, of the creation of the Maharlika Fund, and then some constitutional discussion as well as to whether the discussions in the House were in accordance with the rules of Congress. And so I think that in the oral arguments, they were actually more expecting from the presentation of the Bangko Sentral and for the OSG, we will also discuss that there was basis for the economic team of the president in evaluating the economic viability of the Maharlika Fund, thus resulting in the creation of that corporation.
Well, Solgen, on a different topic, I also wanted to ask about Pogos. It's been almost a year since President Marcos ordered its crackdown on illegal Pogos. And the task of the OSG there was to do a thorough inventory of assets of Pogos and even the cancellation of birth certificates of aliens that were fraudulently acquired. Have you taken a look already at the progress of the OSG there?
Okay, so I just I have onboarded myself on the cases. So for Alice Go, there was a decision by the regional trial court on the Coaranto case that was filed by the OSG, where the court declared that Alice Go is a Chinese citizen, thus she's usurping the office of the mayor. And there is also a pending deportation case. So the Pogo cases, in fact, that the OSG is handling are more pertaining to the power of Congress to investigate in aid of legislation. So iba-iba naman yung mga tinatanong dun sa mga cases kasi the witnesses or the resource persons were challenging before the Supreme Court the power of Congress, and they were invoking also their right against self-incrimination because they didn't want to answer some questions of the Quadcom. Now, for example, for Harry Roque, the case that he filed in the Supreme Court in relation to this was the grant of he was asking for a grant of the privilege of the writ of amparo, but the Supreme Court said that the writ of amparo kasi is a legal remedy to protect the right to life, liberty in cases involving extrajudicial killing and enforced disappearance, which is not applicable in the Congress investigation.
Very quickly, Solgen, gusto ko lang mag-circle back doon sa ICC Jurisdiction Case. Did I hear you right earlier? And just to clarify, you're saying you see an opportunity to be able to change the stance of the OSG because that was the issue then with the former Solgen Guevara. Sabi niya he needs to be consistent with the stance that the office has taken so far. So you're saying may chance to kind of shift this?
Just to add
Yes.
context to
Yes.
that, the official position of Solgen Guevara and his office's position was that the case of the Philippines was not admissible and that the ICC failed to timely exercise its jurisdiction. That was that's on the record. So in your office, in your time, what is the official stance going to be?
Okay, so we don't have yet an official stance, and that was what I was trying to say a while ago. I am just saying that we are open to revisiting it since the ICC has already ruled upon the jurisdiction of the court. It was like a 3-2 decision, only 2 dissented on the jurisdiction of the ICC to proceed with the case. So we are open to revisiting that position given the decision on the jurisdiction. And what I am doing is I am asking for another division in the OSG also to study so that, because we have like 30 divisions in the OSG, and if para hindi naman awkward na the previous division will go 180 degree with the position that they have. So I'm not saying that it's final, and 2 things. So all I'm saying is I'm open. We are studying it. And number 2, that we have to align with the legal team of the president so that we can have an aligned position.
Oh, thanks for clearing that up, because
Yes.
that was a very fudgy issue.
Well, I mean, and to be fair, it is still early in your term.
right.
But what do you think, coming from the academe, what do you think, how do you think that's helped you in this new position? Because it's entirely different and you have to navigate a different landscape here.
Yes, it is very different. Now, I think that because in the academe, the values really that are important in the academe are open-mindedness. We encourage discourse and discussion. So that means that I need to listen in order to. And I need to be conscious as well of like certain biases. So there has been a case, for example, in the OSG. Sometimes when I look at case and I think that I already have like an idea or an impression against this case, and I'm telling my team, why did we appeal this case? It seems that it's weak, but when I go into the details and when I listen to my team, it corrects my prejudices. So I think that inclination and that openness to listen and weigh the different perspectives will be very important, especially for the Office of the Solicitor General and the role of being the tribune of the people. I think listening and making sure that we think through what is really the interest of the public will be very, very important in this role.
I think so too. But we'll leave the conversation there. Thank you so much for talking to us tonight. We hope to have you on the studio next time, in the studio, live here. That was Solicitor General Darlene Berberabe. Thank you, ma'am.
Right, we're just going to take a quick break, but coming up, PAGCOR does not see a total ban as solution to the growing addiction to online gambling in the Philippines. Find out why when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back. You're still watching The Big Story. PCOR is opposing a total ban on online gambling in the Philippines. This comes after Senator Migz Zubiri filed a bill seeking to ban all forms of online gambling, while Senator Win Gatchalian proposed a measure to prohibit the use of e-wallets for gambling transactions. In an interview with One News' Storycon, PCOR Chairman Al Tenco reiterated that PCOR's stand is to retain online gambling operations, but under stricter regulations. For one, he said they will be signing a memorandum of agreement with the Ad Standards Council, or ASC, this month. The move would lead to stricter oversight of online gambling ads, including those seen on billboards and other outdoor platforms. Tenco also pointed out that the government continues to earn significant revenue from online gambling. In 2024 alone, PCOR collected around 50 billion pesos in license fees, with half of that amount automatically allocated to social services.
I had made my stand clear. PCOR is for the retention with the stricter regulation instead of total banning. We are going to sign an MOA with ASC on the 16th of July, and from there on, they will be implementing new rules and regulations already. In 2024, we were able to collect more or less 50 billion pesos. 50% of that automatically goes to social services. That includes the Universal Healthcare Act, yung PhilHealth po. Malaki po ang napupunta ron. May napupunta po sa Philippine Sports Commission. May napupunta po sa Dangerous Drug Board. May napupunta po niyan sa DOJ para po dun sa mga nakulong na hindi naman dapat nakulong.
Meanwhile, Malacanang says President Marcos sympathizes with families affected by online gambling. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro also says the Department of Finance is proposing higher taxes on online gambling and that the matter is currently under review.
Katulad po ng sinabi natin kahapon na meron nga pong proposal ang DOF patungkol po sa pagpatataas ng tax at yan po ay aaralin at sabi nga po natin din kahapon, ang Pangulo po ay nakikisimpatya sa mga pamilya na nabibiktima ng ganitong klaseng gambling dahil po yung ibang kanilang mga kasama sa bahay ay nagiging gumon sa pagsusugal. Sa pag-aaralan po lahat yan at mabigyan ng tamang direksyon at judgment on that matter.
Moving on to another story, who will Senator Risa stand with in the 20th Congress? That's the big question being raised now after Senator Jinggoy Estrada suggested that returning Senators Bam Aquino and Francis Kiko Pangilinan have joined the majority. Estrada said this during an interview on DWIZ on Saturday, adding that senators have to be in the majority if they want to get plum committee chairmanships. Ontiveros and her political group, Akbayan Party List, campaigned for Aquino and Pangilinan in the May midterm elections. They are all seen as stalwarts of the Liberal Party as well. But Senator Juan Miguel Migz Zubiri, for one, says he heard Ontiveros may now be on her own. He also said that the so-called veteran bloc composed of himself, Senators Tito Soto, Ping Lacson, and Loren Legarda would welcome Ontiveros joining them.
Naawa nga ako kay Senator Risa. Naawa talaga ako sa kanya. Alam mo, kampanya ng kampanya para sa kanya mga kandidato. Tapos sabi niya, gagawa siya ng sarili niyang bloke, na independent block. Yan. Ay na yun, mag-isa na lang siya.
Oh, nasa
I heard na mag-isa na lang siya. I cannot confirm nor deny this. But,
willing niyong i-adapt, sir?
of course, she's most welcome to join us. Although we have a divergent, I'd say, position on some issues. Kasi of course she's more on the left side. We're more on the conservative side. Many of you know I'm a conservative.
But former Senate President Frank Dillon was more conservative in his assessment. He spoke to us earlier on Storycon, and Dillon said if both Pangilinan and Aquino do vote for Cheese Escudero to remain Senate President, that doesn't mean that they've changed direction or that they've turned their backs on the Liberal Party.
I don't think they have changed directions. Bam's campaigned on the platform of education. Kiko campaigned on the platform of food security. Well, that's precisely what they are pursuing by getting into the majority bloc to head the committees which on which they stood as an issue when they were campaigning. It doesn't mean that that if Bob and Kiko have chairmanships, they are not in the opposition.
So let's try to make sense of these. We have with us tonight former Senate President, Senator Migz Zubiri. Welcome to the big story, Senator. Thanks for joining us. We've been trying to get you for a while.
Yeah, sorry. Usually the time that you're on, I'm either with my children or I'm in the province in Mindanao. But yes, nice to see all of you, Shawn, Pauline, and Regina. And to all that are watching, magandang gabi po, mayang gabi sa tanan.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Senator.
much,
Okay, let's tackle online gambling first before we talk about the Senate. So you filed a bill to ban online gambling, and today Senator Risa also filed a separate bill, and she's suggesting that the ban be relegated to the access to online gaming in e-wallets. So in any case, with your bill, you've talked at length about it, but I'm just wondering, how far, do you have the support for this, do you think? And also, why only now? Because online gambling has been around for a while.
You know, I'll tell you first, guys, the outpouring of support has been immense. Ang aking Facebook has been flooded with support from so many sectors, especially the OFWs. Kasi maraming OFW families affected dito, guys. No? Yung kanilang kita na pinapadala dito sa Pilipinas, nagtataka sila, bakit palaging kulang? At nalaman pala nila na nauubos na kanilang mga kamag-anak dyan sa mga buwisit na online gambling na yan. And you know, several sectors, when I came out with this, this was really... this is probably one of the only measures that I've had that had come out with this type of support from so many sectors. As a matter of fact, today I had a meeting with the media of the Senate. I treated them for lunch. Each one of us had a story to tell na kung saan yung kasambahay nalulong sa online gambling, nagnakaw sa kanilang tahanan. Yung isa, yung kusinero ng kanilang shop dahil nga nalulong din sa online gambling, ay kinuha yung tip box at na yun hiyang-hiya, they had to resign. I mentioned in my press briefing, which came from my mayor in Kibawe, Bukidnon, Mayor Jimboy, and he told me that merong 16-year-old na bata na nagbigti, no? Nag-suicide. He hanged himself dahil nga ginamit niya yung pera ng nanay at tatay na savings na less than 200 pesos lamang dahil nahiya po siya sa magulang, varsity player man lang doon sa local university, local school namin, nagpakamatay. These are stories. These are actual newspaper. I have hundreds of this with me now. This is about a Cebu City shooting. Man kills neighbor over online game scatter. This one, scatter forces a man to steal cash from a store in Mandaue. I have so many of this. I have stacks of newspaper articles that have been flooding the internet and flooding my office since the start that I came out with this stand to ban online gambling.
Yeah.
So the social costs are tremendous. Talagang napakalaki ng social cost nito. And maybe nagising po ako, to be honest, nagising po ako dahil sabi ko nga sa isang interview kanina, I was in my farm in Bukidnon and I was wondering why my agricultural workers, the workers in the farm, was actually playing with their phones. Nakaupo lang sila sa ilalim ng kahoy, ng punong kahoy. Naglalaro sila. Sabi ko, ano yan? And then when I looked, I said, ba't parang roulette wheel yan? May roulette, I don't know, I don't play these games. So may roulette wheel na gumagalaw.
Yeah.
Yung isa naman parang slot machine. Sabi ko, ano yan? Ay, boss, ano yan? Scatter. Tsaka, sabi ko, magkano ang pusta nyo dyan? Pwede piso, pwede 5 piso.
Yeah.
At iniisip ko, yun I put in my mind, guys, these are agricultural minimum wage earners. So, they're not earning that much to be able to spend all this kind of money on gambling, which they told me they don't win anyway. So,
Yeah.
Senator, maraming nag-file ng similar bills in various degrees and win, partial ban, stricter regulation. As Regina mentioned, Senator Risa also. Are you guys open to talking about this, maybe consolidating everything para mas malakas talaga, no? And para you can gain solid support as a group?
yes, actually, ganyan talaga mangyayari dyan, guys. No? Shawn and Regina and Pauline, what we're going to do is basically have the committee hearings. We'll have an investigation in aid of legislation. We will call all sectors involved. And eventually, ang mangyayari dyan, magkakaroon kami ng compromise measure. I'm on the extreme side. No, I'm on the extreme side. Mine is total banning. Why? Because we tried regulations na sa Pogo. Yung PCOR, yan ang lumang tugtugin na. Pasensya na lang, Mr. Altenco, no? He's a good friend of my father's, matagal ko ng kaibigan yan. Pero yan ang tugtugin na ng PCOR against Isabong na okay lang, i-regulate natin. What happened? Nako, Diyos ko po. Hindi lang na-regulate, nagwala, ang dami pang namatay na mga sabongero. Ngayon, ganun din nangyari sa Pogo. We said, that was the time of Mr. Tenko. Sabi niya, no, we'll regulate. Let us regulate. He even talked to the president. At that time, I was Senate President. He talked to the president and he said, we'll just regulate it. What had happened? We even passed a law taxing them. Taxation. Kaya even taxation is useless. Because even if we tax them, ang nangyari, lumala ang sitwasyon nung sa Pogo, ang daming human trafficking cases, ang daming illegal na Pogo operators, nothing happened. We were at a loss. So every time we closed a Pogo operator, may bumukas na naman ng 10 all around the Philippines. But now, because of the ban, if you notice, ang tao mismo na yon ang nagsusumbong. Kaya hindi talaga sila makakalusot. If you see like 30, 40, 50 Chinese in one compound, automatic yan. Pupunta ng pulis, ng barangay captain, mahuhuli sila. Because there's a total ban.
Actually, that's what I was going to point out, Senator. No, in 2021, the Senate voted to tax Pogos instead. This was under President Duterte, and that was under your leadership. So I was wondering as well, bakit po
I was a majority leader. I was not the Senate President.
Correct.
You were Senate President.
I apologize
I was the majority leader.
So,
and I'll be honest with you, it was a mistake. It was an absolute mistake.
Yun na nga eh.
That's why sometimes we make mistakes in legislation. We look back and we regret it. And I regret passing that Pogo regulation bill, to tax them and to regulate them further. That's why now we're going to make another mistake. If you ask me, it's going to be a mistake. Why? How can you regulate? Just banning the posters and the ads? The PCOR chairman came out saying that, we're going to meet with the ad board and we're going to get rid of all the posters. You don't need that. It's social media. It's in your phone. You don't need anymore any posters or ads in radio, TV, or what have you.
Yes.
Nandiyan na yan eh. Automatic na yan. Lalo na pag meron kang e-wallet. If you have a GCash, you have a Paymaya and all the other e-wallets, automatic yan. They offer it. It pops up on your phone that we have this app. Why don't you try it? And then there's, of course, may mga artista doon na nagpapaganda at nagpapacute na maganda ito, masaya ito. Masaya ba pag ikaw minimum wage earner, inubos mo yung matrikula ng inyong anak? That's why social ills are terrible, guys. Terrible.
So you don't want to make the same mistake as you did with Pogo. But how far are you willing to go? Because as you already mentioned, you're going to come up against powerful interests here. Maraming politicians that are friends. And I think you yourself might have some friends in this industry. And of course, marami din celebrities who are endorsers of online gambling. How far are you prepared to go?
As far as it takes, guys. As far as myself being voted out, it's possible that I can be voted out. And, it is a deliberative body. They will eventually put it on a vote. These powerful, influential people, maglalabi yan. For sure, they'll lobby. They'll invite them for dinners, for lunches, and of course, they will wine and dine them, offer them the sun, moon, and the stars. But I am going to fight this all the way. This is going to be my advocacy till my last days in the Senate. I'm only until 2028. If I can make this my legacy, the legacy for the Filipino people, let's do it.
Okay, but
I am heart-warmed, or I am so honored by the outpouring of support that they've been giving me, and they've been telling me, sana wag po kayo mag-iba ng inyong advokasya dahil ang daming pamilya na sirat na wasak dito. It's not enough that we're making 50 billion a year on these guys. I'll tell you what. I was in the province last week. Kausap ko yung mga mall operators doon, yung mga Gaisano, Ororama, the local ones, not the SMs. I don't know, I haven't spoken to SM yet or Ayala malls and all these high-end malls. Ang sabi sa akin ng mga local operators doon sa probinsya at sa Cagayan de Oro sa Bukidnon, bumaba yung foot traffic nila at bumaba yung sales nila. Initially, akala nila because of online selling. But you know, in the province, guys, mahina yung online selling doon because ang lalayo ng mga bahay. You're talking about, you know, kilometers away from each other. So, ang sabi, and then the conclusion was, after the dinner, was it's possibly because nawala na po yung spending power, yung what you call, yung disposable income ng ating mga kababayan dahil napunta na dyan sa online gaming. Imbis na madala nila ang kanilang pamilya ng Sabado o Linggo sa Jollibee, naubos na ng padre de pamilya sa paglaro nitong mga iba't ibang games, online gambling sa kanilang cellphone. And that's a fact. And if I'm going to ask this during the hearings, I'm going to ask the Mall Operators Association to let me know, matamlay ba? Because ang balita ay matamlay. Consumer spending is down. And when consumer spending is down, ladies and gentlemen, bagsak ang ating ekonomiya. Why? Unfortunately, our biggest mover for GDP growth is actually consumer spending.
Right.
Not manufacturing, not tourism. As a matter of fact, bagsak yung tourism natin na yun. Ang exports natin, napakababa. Maliit lang yung foreign direct investment.
Yeah.
Yung OFW funds going to the Philippines, pumupunta sa iba't ibang tahanan, na pumupunta sa mall at namimili po ng gamit, namimili po ng pagkain, yan ang backbone ng ating ekonomiya. Now,
Senator,
pag maubos yan sa sugal, patay ang ekonomiya.
yes. But Senator, I wanted to ask, what safeguards are there to prevent people from resorting to underground illegal platforms? Because a total ban could lead to that. And that's the reason actually why countries like Germany, Sweden, and Singapore have shifted from prohibition to regulation.
Very simple. Just cut off all the e-wallets. It's the accessibility, guys. It's the accessibility. If you have I don't have the app, but we tried it yesterday before my press con. And in 1 minute, if you have the app, you can put the app in 1 minute, and in 1 minute you can be online on all these games. So it's the accessibility. If you take out all the e-wallets and credit cards, patay na rin yan. Who are they gonna sell to? I mean, that means you have to go to a store and get like a card, like a bingo card, and play that way. Siguro, pwede natin gawin yun. But that will kill the industry. This stopping the e-wallets, you know, I'll tell you, kasi magaling ang Pilipino makalusot, guys. No? I hope you forgive me for my passion. I'm just very passionate about this because ayoko sana na bansa natin number one gambling capital na tayo. It's here, I'll show you. We are now the number one gambling capital of the world. Of Asia. And I'm not lying. We have the most number of casinos.
No,
I
believe
you,
Senator.
Senator.
Back a few years
We're the
ago.
number one gambling capital.
Oh.
It's not the direction that we want to do now. Remember that Pogo was providing gambling to China, not Filipinos.
Yes.
Yun nangyari dito, yung mga sindikato nagpapatayan, nagkikidnapping, and yung pagsispiya. They were spying on us. Kaya natanggal yan. Ito na yun ay onshore gaming. Kababayan po natin naglalaro. Hindi China, hindi ibang bansa. Kaya ito, the biggest gambling nations in the world, we are number one, no? So,
Senator?
my point is that the direction we want for our people in the next 3 years? Tell me how that will develop us as a nation.
Yeah.
Yes, we will get 100 billion. So what? The social cost of the hundreds of billions. So, yan ang mahirap dyan. I can't seem to fathom why they don't see it. Sana naman pumunta din sila sa Facebook. Siguro si Chairman Alteco, baka kailangan niya maglagay ng Facebook at siguro mag-open forum siya dyan.
I'm sure meron siyang Facebook, Senator naman.
Okay. Sen, lipat tayo, no? I'm going to read something. This is a message that you sent earlier in the day. This is about, of course, other Senate issues. So I'm going to read, quote, on the issue of what I said yesterday about the trial being a witch hunt, here is my direct and final answer, and you can use this quote. It does not matter what my personal opinion is, whether she is guilty or not. That's referring to VP Sara. What matters is that the constitutional process continues and the trial begins, period. End quote. Would you like
That's
to add
correct.
anything?
No, that's correct, Shawn. It's a lie to say that my colleagues have not made decisions up in their minds. It's a political exercise. We're all politicians, although we must try to remain neutral. We must try to remain, non-biased or impartial. But look what happened to CJ Corona. CJ Corona was failed from the beginning because Malacanang at that time really wanted to replace him with their own candidate. So they really went to call person to person and lobbied. That's a true story. And you can ask some of my colleagues who may be willing to answer that. At my stage in life, guys, I'm going to be part of the minority. I think I will be candid and frank in all my discussions now. So my point is, many of them have made up their mind already. But we cannot stop the process. The process is sacred. I'm sorry to say, but the process is sacred. Meaning, if there is an impeachment coming from the House of Representatives, we are duty-bound by the Constitution to hear it. I gave a case in point yung nangyari sa year 2000 under then-President Estrada. I was part of the group Spice Boys. I don't know if you were still young enough to remember that. We were the group that got the 77 signatures. We went house to house together with Mike Defensor, Ace Barbers, Nonoy Andaya, God rest his soul, and many others.
Senator,
we got the signatures. Yes.
Senator, is the reason why you're saying this because you get a sense na it's heading towards a dismissal?
Well, the people are worried about that. And they're rightfully so. They have to be worried about that. But when the time comes, when the decision will be made on the floor, and we will have to vote whether it is to dismiss it or to continue, let us remember precedents. I want to just say this, kasi yung nangyari dun sa year 2000, there's only been 2 impeachment cases that are successful impeachment cases in this Constitution. The first one was with Erap Estrada, with former President Erap Estrada, with due respect. Ang nangyari pa, binasa ni Senator, he was Speaker then, Manny Villar. He read his prayer and then diretso na siya sa articles of impeachment. He didn't even wait for a motion from the floor because he knew marami pang kaalyado si Presidente sa floor. Now, he sent it directly to the Senate. What did the Senate do, guys? The Senate heard it, accepted it, and heard it without question. They could have dismissed it and said, that was not proper procedure because it was a prayer that led to the impeachment proceedings or impeachment readings in the House of Representatives. Do you get my point? Meaning the process is sacred. Pagdating na doon, pagdating na sa Senado, wala na tayong magagawa, lilitisin natin yan. And in the end, you vote on your conscience. You vote on how you feel it should be voted on, whether to impeach or to acquit.
Yeah.
That's it. It's as simple as that.
So can I just confirm, Senator Migz, that the plan when the 20th Congress opens is to vote on the motion to dismiss? Tama po ba? Because we haven't gotten
There will be a plan.
definitive confirmation at this point.
I'm not part of that group. As you know, I'm a slap soil. Ano yung slap soil? Hampas lupa. So kami lang ni Senator Loren, grupo namin ang nakakaalam sa mga galaw namin. We don't know what the movement of the other side will be. I don't know if there were political considerations being made. But my point is I think there will be a motion that will be to dismiss it. But with due respect to my allies, my colleagues, my fellow Mindanaoans, I must respect the institution and I must respect the constitutional mandate of the impeachment process. Why? This is to protect each and every one of us. One day, malay mo, baka naman si President Marcos yung impeach. Tapos, yung grupo naman ni President Marcos sa Senado will say, dismiss. And then ito naman grupo ni Duterte sasabihin nila, why will you dismiss it? Do not dismiss it. So, the rules are there for one reason. Without fear or favor, it is blind. We have to be able to follow these rules and procedures for anyone, whoever is being tried in an impeachment court.
last question, we're being told to wrap, but just yes or no, Senator. Sabi mo, most of the senator judges have made up their minds at this point, even without seeing the evidence. You called this a witch hunt. Do I take to mean that you've already made up your mind as well?
No, I said in my statement yesterday, I'm open to seeing the evidence, but they should present it properly. They should prove to me that she did not benefit from these funds because, you know, like any court of law, they are guilty beyond reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
So let's hope that they're, they can prove beyond reasonable doubt.
Okay. Sabi ko, yes or no lang, Senator. It's okay.
Mahirap naman yung yes
this
or no.
needs to be a long...
Politika, mahirap ang yes or no.
This needs to be a longer
Bitin, Sen.
conversation, so we do hope to have you on again, if not on The Big Story and other shows. Thank you so much for your time tonight, former Senate President, Senator Migz Zubiri.
Thank you very much. God bless you guys. Thank you.
And that is...
Okay, so we've run out of time. That's it for The Big Story this Tuesday evening.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night. Good
All
rainy
right,
night.
exactly 8:30 p.m.
Sorry,
Coming up
and with 8 seconds
with 8
overtime.
seconds overtime. Coming up next, we have play-by-play with Andre Felix and Cheska Litoncala. We've eaten into 16 seconds of your time. What's up, guys?
Just me right now.
Oh my gosh! Hi, Reg! Hi, Reg! Nice to see you. Oh my God! I'm looking good, Cheska!
Sorry. Nag-restroom pa ako kasi sabi ko,
Akala niya mahaba pa.
alam mo kung bakit? No. So I was watching your interview with Migz Zubiri, with Senator. And then you said, Senator, I'm being wrapped up. Sabi ni Reg, one more question. Sabi ko, may isang tanong pa to.
Yes
Sabi
or
ko,
no lang eh.
Ha?
Yes or no lang dapat. Eh,
Sumagot
nag-expound
eh.
siya.
Kung sumagot
O,
si
yun na
Sen,
eh.
sabi ko,
Tumakbo ka na.
I'll go to the men's room muna.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Fairness, ang bilis mo, ha? Mga 15 seconds lang yon.
Pero thank you. That was
I'm impressed.
sorry. Nandito naman si Cheska, kayang-kaya ni
Na-TMI
Cheska.
yata tayo sa mga nanonood. Hi, guys!
But thank you. That was a great interview. That was entertaining
I like
and
your look.
informative.
I like your outfit.
And,
You're matching.
Oh, blue yung polo. Kaya nga sabi ko nice blue color.
Okay. Akala ko nag-match na naman kayo ni Pao.
Hindi. Okay, ganda.
Wala
ganda.
ka siya ka-match today.
Yung wall.
Grabe ka.
Hindi. Red kasi bagay nga sa set.
Okay.
Anyway, okay.
Alright, go na.
What's in sports tonight?
Dito na ako. Thank you. Good to see you there, Reg. Thank you, Shawn, and thank you, Pauline. Big story, great show, of course, interviewing Senator Migz Zubiri. My apologies again. If you have to go, you have to go. Hello, tatagal pa eh. Okay, let's get the show on the road. On our show, we got NBA offseason updates plus new members of the Gilas Pilipinas men's pool for the FIBA Asia Cup.
And we look ahead to a crucial Game 7 in the PBA Philippine Cup semis between Barangay Ginebra San Miguel and the San Miguel Beermen.
I'm Andre Felix.
And I'm Cheska Litoncala.
And here's tonight's play-by-play.
Ramiro, the show by Mamoy League. Mr. Moves puts it on.